The incomparable O.J. Simpson is a man who not only brings poetry to the game of football, he obviously brings out the poetry in those who watch him play. All year, the signs have pointed to a great season for the Buffalo Bills. But after 4 straight victories came a surprise loss to New York's lowly rated Giants, and O.J. was held to a season low yardage total. Of course, that low was merely 126 yards. But still, the big question as Buffalo prepared to meet Miami was, could O.J. and the Bills bounce back and regain their early season spark? O.J. wasn't the only runner on the field last week. Mercury Morris has regained his starting status and is second only to Simpson in the AFC rushing statistics. In fact, Mercury and Don Nottingham have seemingly made up for the loss of Sonka and Kick in Miami's running attack. The Buffalo defense is taking the field here. But the big story for Miami has been its defense, which once again actually lives up to its no-name nickname. Shula's had to replace 5 starters, yet they have come on strong as attested to their shutout of Joe Namath and the Jets. Lou Saban has had the same kind of devastating injuries on his defense, but without the strong reserves to step in and take over. He did an incredible job of concealing the weaknesses for the first 4 games. Then came the New York surprise, and now the biggest test of all for Buffalo, the Dolphins. Few who remember the battle between the 2 teams last year could doubt this would be an unusually fine football game in the NFL Game of the Week, the Bills versus the Dolphins. As Lou Saban gathered his team before the kickoff, he was aware what was to come would be a classic matchup. For this game pairs the American Conference's #1 offense, Buffalo, against the #1 defense, Miami. But it is past defense statistics that interest Lou Saban the most. His team ranks next to last in the AFC and has seen a revolving door policy regarding its defensive secondary personnel. Just days before the game, Saban cut a starting cornerback, Charlie Ford. However, on the first series of the game, it was the Buffalo defense, specifically the secondary, that made the first big play of the ball game. Steve Freeman, number 22, a smallish rookie from Mississippi State, in his first start in the NFL, had given the Bills a sudden 7-point lead with only over a minute gone in the game. Freeman is another of the many who have tried to fill the void caused by injured regulars in the Buffalo backfield. The biggest loss of all, of course, was the injury suffered by Robert James, the All-Pro at the corner position where Freeman played today. If ever a team had a sudden lift in a big game, Buffalo had one on Freeman's touchdown interception. Buffalo had taken a very early 7-0 lead over Miami. In the game's second series, Miami found the Bills' defense as tough as they had been on the first. Mercury Morris was unable to get outside and succumbed to Vic Washington's tackle. Buffalo was equally unsuccessful on offense when on their first series with the ball, Joe Ferguson overthrew J.D. Hill and Jake Scott made an easy interception. Scott has had his run-ins with Don Shula recently, and his play, especially against the run, has been under fire. Defensing a pass, however, he has few peers. However, the second time the Bills had possession of the ball, they moved steadily downfield against the Dolphin defense. Twisting out of trouble, Joe Ferguson set up and laid in a beautifully placed pass to Bob Chandler, number 81, who made a fine catch at the sidelines for 16 yards. Many assume that Chandler is starting in place of Ahmad Rashad, who is out for the season with a knee injury. Actually, the 5-year veteran from USC had beaten out highly publicized, multi-talented J.D. Hill, who is now starting in Rashad's place. 3 plays later, from the Miami 26, O.J. Simpson sped through a hole and was gone. Watch number 13, Jake Scott, on this touchdown play. Scott reacted quickly but overplayed Simpson and allowed him to streak by untouched for the score. A look at the play from a third camera shows why a safety is the last line of defense. Here, Scott simply took himself out of the play and Simpson was free. O.J.'s score had given Buffalo its second touchdown in 8 minutes, but the extra point attempt hit the upright. Still, the Bills led 13-0, and Miami had yet to get on track. However, it didn't take them long. On the next series, Mercury Morris squeezed through a hole and was into the Bills' secondary for 25 yards to midfield. But once again, the Bills' defense played tough. A third down pass from Greasy to Twilley was broken up by Vic Washington, number 33. Washington, a former San Francisco running back, was playing defense for the first time since he played in the Canadian Football League. But Buffalo found the going tough, too. On their next series, number 34, fullback Jim Braxton, known for his devastating blocking, applied same to number 25, cornerback Tim Foley. But Simpson was tackled short of a first down. Finally, at the start of the second quarter, Miami's offense ignited due to a collaboration between their superb offensive line and Mercury Morris. Vic Washington got Morris from behind, but Miami had gained 35 yards. Several plays later, Don Nottingham went over top for the Dolphins' first touchdown of the day that brought the score to 13-7. Little Vic Washington excelled not only on defense today, but on the special teams as well, as this 43-yard return of Miami's next kickoff attests. Unfortunately, Buffalo could not capitalize on the long return and was forced to give up the ball. On 2 successive plays, Miami tried hard to give it right back. A Dolphin player covered Morris' fumble, but on the next play, Greasy's interception thrown to Tony Green was irretrievable. This time, Buffalo did take advantage of the Dolphins' generosity. The running of O.J. brought the ball in close near the Miami goal line. And then Ferguson, not shy about passing today, spotted Bob Chandler alone in the end zone for another touchdown. Buffalo had marched right back to negate Miami's only touchdown and resume its 13-point lead over the Dolphins. But with just over a minute remaining, Bob Greasy began to hit for the first time through the airways. Two successive passes to rookie Freddie Solomon brought the ball to the Bill 22. Then Norm Boulash ripped through the middle for 9 yards. With the ball on the Buffalo 13, Greasy speared Nat Moore in the end zone for a Miami touchdown that brought the score to 20-14. But though just 25 seconds remained in the first half, Buffalo and Joe Ferguson weren't through. A pass over the middle to J.D. Hill got 17 yards. Then, with 14 seconds showing, Ferguson found Bob Chandler alone in the zone for 28. The ball was now in field goal position. 7 seconds left, and John Leipold's kick from 45 yards out needs no explanation. The Bill fans tell the story. In an exciting, action-packed offensive duel, the Buffalo Bills led the Miami Dolphins at the half 23-14. Trailing by 9 points, Miami's first possession of the second half would be critical if they were to stay with the Bills, but it started none too well, as number 65, Pat Toomey, was not blocked by Wayne Moore or Don Nottingham, and met Mercury Morris 2 yards deep in the backfield. Despite the loss, the Dolphins stayed with the ground game and had begun a drive that would see them reel off 14 plays, no less than 12 of them runs. Greasy would use his 3 running backs brilliantly on the drive, with Morris gaining 37 yards on 6 carries. Norm Bulash, number 31, would carry just once on the drive, but he made the most of it by busting 14 yards over right tackle. Finally, there was Don Nottingham, number 36, who carried 5 times and tacked 33 yards onto the drive. Some of the names may have changed, but this was the Miami offense at its brutal best, punching out 84 yards on the ground on this one drive alone. Finally, from the 3-yard line, Nottingham followed Bulash's block on the left corner and brought Miami close at 23-21 Buffalo. It had been a typical Miami ground-grabbing drive, but there is a team that runs the ball even more than the Dolphins. That team happens to be the Buffalo Bills, who rush the ball 70% of the time. But with Joe Ferguson holding a hot hand and having his best day ever as a pro, the Bills reversed the percentages. Looking at this play from our end zone camera, we can see that Ferguson was delivering the ball perfectly. On this one, he had to drop the ball over Mike Colon, number 57, and under Jake Scott, number 13, to get the completion. So pass-oriented were the Bills that O.J. Simpson was used as a receiver almost as often as a runner, though on this one, Tim Foley, number 25, had him wrapped up. Ferguson had now tried Simpson, the receiver, and next tried Ferguson, the runner, though he probably regretted it after running into Bob Matheson. On the very next play, Ferguson wanted to pass, but was again forced to run left. This time he wasn't hit hard, but lost the ball. On the left of the screen, notice that Vern Den Herder, number 83, was knocked down by Joe DeLamalure, but picked himself up and picked Ferguson's pocket. Fumble ended this Buffalo drive, but in the fourth quarter, Ferguson drove the Bills to a renewed 9-point lead with several clutch third down passes. The first came about when a Simpson run for no yards and a short pass completion brought up 3rd and 5. But Ferguson had answer number 1, hitting Simpson on a swing out of the backfield for a first down on the Buffalo 30. Ferguson's next big possession play was brought about when Don Reese, number 76, spilled Simpson for a 4-yard loss and rang up a 3rd and 11 character tester. This time his answer was a 17-yard shot to tight end Paul Seymour that Ferguson squeezed past linebacker Steve Toll. The end zone camera reveals that this was one of Ferguson's poorer passes. Had he led Seymour toward the sideline, Toll would have had no chance at the ball. Still, thanks to his Arkansas rifle zip on the ball, he got the completion. The Bills had now reached the Miami 40, and here Ferguson again tried Simpson. Simpson tried to reverse his field, and Ferguson now faced yet another crucial 3rd down. This time, Ferguson found tight end Reuben Gant, who had entered the game to give the Bills a double tight end alignment on the 3rd and 2 play. Again, Ferguson's pass had to be perfect. Had he delivered the ball with any less mustard, Charlie Babb would have been knocking at the ball instead of Gant. After eventually reaching the 6, Ferguson wanted no more of the 3rd down dilemmas, and on a 1st and goal, nailed Bob Chandler sitting at the back of the end zone. For Chandler, it was his 2nd score of the day and 7th reception, and it gave Buffalo the lead 30-21 with 7 minutes to go in the game. For the 5th time in 6 games, the Bills had scored at least 30 points. What the Dolphins needed now was a quick score. Certainly no one was more aware of this than the Buffalo defense. And they stopped Miami's attempt at a razzle-dazzle quick one when Dwight Harrison came up quickly to stop Freddie Solomon for a 2-yard loss. Looking at the play from up top, we can see that Solomon, a former quarterback at Tampa, had intended to throw a pass, but the Bills, aware of his background, were not fooled. Buffalo had averted the big play lightning quick score, but they could not handle several slightly smaller plays that would lead to a moderately quick score. First, Greasy found Nat Moore for 17 yards, and on the very next play, Boulash ran for 17 more. On the next play, it was an 18-yard advance when Greasy spotted Solomon on the right sideline. On 3 plays, Miami had moved 52 yards. Then after inching to the 5, Greasy hit Jim Mandich, who made his first and only catch of the day. Miami had closed to 2 points and had not taken that much time, for over 3 minutes still remained in the game. With the best running game in the league, the book says run out the clock. But Buffalo head coach Lou Saban made a daring call, one that in retrospect he might like to have back. Hoping to cross up the Dolphins, Saban told Ferguson to pass on 1st down. It was a disastrous decision. Jake Scott intercepted Ferguson's pass that had been tipped at the line of scrimmage, and Miami now had the ball on the Buffalo 22 with 3 minutes to go, and an all-too-real shot at extending their mastery over the Bills to 11 straight games. Joe Ferguson, who was having the game of his life to this point with 19 completions and 26 passes, now felt only pain. Sure, the statistics will always be in the record book, but in his heart, Joe Ferguson will only know the dejection he felt when his greatest day as a pro was also one of his saddest. Said Scott, the interceptor, "Sure, it was a gutsy call, but the kid was going so well and they needed the 1st down." With 1:38 to go, the Dolphins capitalized on the turnover when Nottingham scored his 3rd touchdown of the game, putting Miami ahead 35-30. 58.5 minutes into the game, Buffalo trailed for the first time. The Dolphins were still in the game against a red-hot quarterback. Who could yet burn them? And so into this obvious passing situation, Don Shula sent number 75, Manny Fernandez, hoping the 8-year veteran could inspire some pass rush heat on Ferguson. But again on 3rd down, Ferguson kept the Bills alive, seeking out Bob Chandler, who made another great catch to put the Bills at midfield. But that was as far as Ferguson and Chandler could carry the Bills. 2 plays later, number 83, Vern Den-Herder, again popped the ball out of Ferguson's hand, recovered the fumble before it hit the ground, and it was all over. Witness now those businesslike, unemotional Dolphins. This attitude is something new to the Dolphins, who to a man believe that playing with emotion has enabled them to overcome many key injuries this season and run their record to 5-1 and sole possession of first place in the AFC East Division. For the Bills, this loss, their second in a row this season and 11th straight to Miami, had to leave a bitter taste. They had played so well, yet still came up short against the Dolphins. It has to be getting frustrating. They get another shot 6 weeks down the road, and if the Bills and Dolphins continue to play this brilliant brand of football, they could meet for a third time in 1975 in the AFC Championship game.